Hello and welcome to the video. Today we're gonna take a look at Shadow Alakazam in the Great League Remix Cup. The Remix Cup is going to be soon, kinda gone, like 2 more days or whatever for this cup, depending on when you watch it as well, or when this video is gonna get posted. But I kinda want to bring a little bit more spice here. The season is nearly over as well, so let's take a look at one of the squishiest Pokemon that is possibly played in the game, which is the Shadow Alakazam. Having access to the legacy move, I think both Fire Punch as well as Counter are legacy moves, not too sure about it. Definitely Counter is a legacy move on this Pokemon from the community day on the Shadow variant here. And we're going to have an interesting team, and honestly, you might expect that this team does not work out at all. But especially in the first 2 sets that I did with this team, I actually went way positive. And I felt like in the last set that I did with this team, I got quite unlucky with a lot of things like lag spikes that really annoyed me and they kinda lost me some games. But also those, I think it's called DRE, which people sometimes say towards it, where basically the opponent is supposed to go down from a fast move, but they somehow still get a charge move off. Stuff like this is going to happen here today as well, so stay tuned for this. But look at the farm down of Alakazam here. I make a little bit of a mistake here by going for the Shadow Ball first, but I just want to go for something because we are so squishy. If I went for the Fire Punch and then for the Shadow Ball nearly even knocked them out most likely, looking at the Fire Punch damage. But we still have our Hypno in the back, which is going to be able to do quite a lot of damage. And unless they're going to be able to go for 2 more charge moves, we're going to be fine here. Brutal Swing coming through, and 1 more fast move is all it takes, and we can move on to the next opponent. Another Feraligatr, and this is basically the reason why we have the Poliwrath here in the lead. I was thinking some other Pokemon as well. One of them would be Empoleon, which made a lot of sense for this team as well here, but I kind of wanted to have some answer for Feraligatr, and definitely the correct play here. As you can see there, by the way, I lost somehow 2 turns through lag, and so the opponent got a Sempita here, which should have never happened before. This was not my mistake. They only went for 4 on my screen, but apparently they went for, 5 in total, but yeah, that was kinda thanks to the lag, which I didn't really know. But anyway, there were a lot of times where people just kinda panic stopped against Alakazam, thinking it's like a psychic type, and went into their steel type Pokemon, which was hilarious, which you can see here, for example. And so we can take advantage of this. We're going to be able to now let the move go through. We can go back into our fighter, and we're just going to try to get some debuffs onto the opponent's Annihilape. Fun fact here, while Hypno is going to be very weak against Annihilape's moves, we're going to be able to take a move way easier if we're going to be able to get the debuff on them. I went for the risky play here, and look at this, we were not even able to hit all the bubbles either. It is quite sad on how the state still is for the game, but at least I think there's going to be some changes coming towards the game eventually, so stay tuned for this. We're going to be able to at least see here that the Annihilape is going to be able to go for Night Slash. They don't get the boost, and so we can easily win the game by going for 1 Ice Punch. A Shadow Ball would have not knocked us out from full health either because of the debuff, and so we can move on to the next opponent. So, let's see what they're going to run. Magnezone in lead. This is going to be quite decent for us. As they go swap out immediately into the Annihilape, we can retaliate with our Hypno. And here's the thing about Hypno, which is kinda sad for me at least. I was running Ice Punch and Thunder Punch. Because if you think about it, my lead is completely weak to Flying type Pokemon. Ice Punch for Gligar, Thunder Punch for Mantine, best coverage basically. It's kinda what I also think is still the best one, but they were honestly quite a lot of scenarios where I really would have liked to have Fire Punch. Here's one of them. And I make even a little bit more of a mistake in this battle as well, which you're going to see here right now, because I kind of want to keep my Hypno alive, expecting that they're going to have in the back the Mantine. I decided to swap out of here, and maybe I should have not used a shield here, but I decided, I actually decided to use a shield. I thought I was maybe not even using a shield, but yeah, I decided to now let this move go through, and maybe if I went straight for another charge move with my Hypno, I would have been able to force a shield, and this would have maybe made the matchup against the Mantine a little bit easier. I tried to go up to 1 Shadow Ball, but sadly, because also they swapped out so fast, they wouldn't be able to go for the Water Pulse here, just knocking us out. We have a Thunder Punch still stored, but it will not help us, and so they're going to be able to win this game. Still well played by the opponent. We can move on to the next one. Poliwrath against a Swampert. Lovely lead for us, especially as we can go for the straight debuff against them. I could go up to a Scald, or just go straight for the Ice Wind. Let's see, we're just gonna go straight for the Icy Wind, because I think Scald is the same pacing as Earthquake. I think it is. And here, the opponent goes for another charge move straight away, and I decided to let this move go through, and it was just the Hydro Cannon, which is lovely for us, as they're gonna go into a Dedenne, which is quite an interesting Pokemon. Our best bet here for sure is the Hypno, and I decided to use a shield here, because I kind of fear the player Play Rough coming through. And I was wrong with that. The opponent was never going to go for a Play Rough here for whatever reason. They just decided to go for the Discharge. And yeah, this is going to be a theme that you're going to see as well. Going to happen quite a bit more because they decide to go for another Discharge here. I don't really know why. Play Rough is usually the play that they would go for, but I guess they just love going for Discharge. Maybe they have Parabolic Charge as their other move, which is a horrible move right now. Hopefully they're going to buff it eventually. But at least we're going to get out of here with quite a lot of energy. And they're going to have a Ninetales here, and I just panic swapped into my Poliwrath. Funnily enough, it was a Powder Snow variant, which actually turns out being great for us. But as you're going to see, they got the debuff. They're going to go back into the Swampert. They should be able to knock me out with this Hydro Cannon. But at least now we can align our biggest threat, the Alakazam here. Can we still win this one? It's going to be close. This is going to be very likely a dazzling game because I don't think they trust into the Weather Ball, and they don't. And so I think Weather Ball would have been the better play for them to go for. I think it would have not knocked us out. Or like it would have knocked us out, I mean. Or like with our more fast move would have been enough. But here we are still going to be able to go for a double Thunder Punch and win the game. Again, Fire Punch would have been lovely here, but let's move on to the next opponent. Steelix, great lead for us, but it's actually not as great as you might expect. While we do super effective damage, they still do neutral damage, and they have super effective damage themselves here with the Psychic Fangs. I decided to use a shield here. Honestly, I most likely should have not done this, because I actually have decent coverage in the back still with my Shadow Alakazam, which is supposed to get out those steel types, and also, of course, the Hypno in the back. So, I don't know, maybe this was not the correct play to go for a double shield here. But we still try our best to farm them down with the lag that we have. So let's see what is coming in next. It's going to be the Mantine, and at least we're going to be able to align ourselves, which is going to be great for us. Or do we? I actually decide to swap out of here into my Alakazam, and they swap out immediately into the Feraligatr. That's kind of great for us because we need kind of a little bit of an advantage. So let's see if we can still win this game. Fire Punch coming through, we're going to get shielded. We can get a lot of damage here, honestly, like quite a lot of damage onto the opponent. They're forced to go for a charge move. My only hope is that I can still get to a Thunder Punch against the opponent while getting like 2 moves off, but sadly they still reach another charge move. It's never going to be able to knock us out, but sadly it's going to put us into a range where the opponent's Mantine will be able to do so. I think a Thunder Punch most likely would be enough from this range with the confusion damage, but because they got the crunch off, they're going to be able to win the game, and we can move on to the next opponent. Still quite a close one. We're going to see a Gligar here in the lead, and I decided to stay in for a little bit and just get a shield advantage, which I feel like is the best play that I can go for. You win this in the Zero Shield as a Poliwrath, but you lose it in every other shield scenario, so we just decided to go for the Zero Shield scenario and just go ahead and go for the Icy Wind, and now swap out into our Alakazam as we would have access to Fire Punch, which most likely going to be enough from the range we're going to have them at. We see as well that they decide to go for the Aerial Ace, kind of unfortunate for us, but they're going to go ahead and go into the Poliwrath. A matchup that we can actually win if we wanted to, but I don't actually want to win this matchup. I cannot just want to get the shield from the opponent because now I can get energy, and energy can be quite nice for our Hypno, as Hypno is going to be able to get a lot of energy here, has Ice Punch for the Gligar, and what I expect in the back is going to be the Annihilape. So let's see if I'm going to be correct with that guess, because like Gligar Double Fighter is quite common, or like a team that at least I would expect to be quite decent in this meta. And as you're gonna see, they go back into the Gligar, we have the Ice Punch for this. So am I correct with the Annihilape in the back? I'm not too sure about it, let's find out. It is not, it's going to be a Magnezone. So my only play is to try to catch a move here, and it does work out. Hopefully this is going to be the Wild Charge, and it is the Wild Charge, and so we can now go ahead and go for the back-to-back Ice Punch. I have to hope that the Mirror Shot, which they would have right now, would not be enough to knock us out, but they don't even go for it, and so we can go for another Ice Punch and knock them out and win this game. Moving on, now we're going to encounter a very, very good lead for us. The Gustlo is going to be here, but I have no answer for a Rapidash. I know it sounds very sad, but Rapidash kinda wants my team, which is quite hilarious because, yeah, like, all my fast moves are going to be resisted of this Pokemon. I don't really have a great answer for this Pokemon, but at least I have Hypno, right? They're debuffed, they're not gonna do too much against us, correct? You would maybe not expect that Rapidash is actually doing quite a bit here with the high horsepower. Fun Pokemon to use though, maybe I kinda want to take a look at this Pokemon as well. But honestly, it's a garbage Pokemon if you don't run a garbage team that I do here. Of course, we are not running a very serious team if we're running an Alakazam. But it is what it is, we can still counter them down, they can align themselves. We're going to encounter here the Annihilape as well, as you can try to reach the hard-hitting charge move. I'm going to hope that they're going to maybe try to swap out of here, which they don't. And so, Yeah, Alakazam not going to have the greatest time here. We're going to sadly forfeit this game here after this charge move as well, because there's no real reason to stay on. Next opponent, Cresselia is swapping in. Great for us. We kind of hardball both the lead as well as the Say Swap, as we can reach out for the Icy Wind to drop the opponent's attack so they don't do any damage against us anyway. And so we can now take this opportunity to just get a million energy basically, as we're going to still have a decent matchup in the back. We're going to see the opponent going for another charge move here. They can go for the Awkward Tails all they want. I don't really care, as counter down is the way to go. Getting around a 100 energy is going to be lovely for us. As we're gonna see here, Awkward Tail is going to connect, and we can try to go for the full farm down. In comes the opponent, Cresselia. This is going to be quite decent for us. Scott is going to be able to now connect against the opponent, and you might expect, oh, this team is going to be very weak against Cresselia. It is actually quite okay, especially if we're going to encounter something like a Litleo here, which has to take a resisted Fire Punch, right? It actually doesn't, and so you see already how much damage Alakazam can do. We actually still get to another Fire Punch against the Cresselia on a CMP tie. Let's say goodbye to the first shield of the opponent as well at this point. We got them already low, and there are only one Pokemon left. And this is the lovely thing here with our Poliwrath. Just gonna go for an Icy Wind. The Icy Wind is going to be able to drop the attack, and they cannot get rid of it. As you can see on the right side as well, the Switch Dog is coming up after this charge move, so we can swap out immediately, and so they have no way of winning this game. They're debuffed, they have a shield disadvantage, we still have 2 Pokemon left, and they have like next to no HP, so the only correct call here from the opponent would be to forfeit this battle, which they don't do at all so far, but I can just go for the full farm down with Confusion. And there's not a lot that the opponent can really do here. 2-shield flex from us. Actually, I still go for Nice Punch, but they're going to let this move go through anyway. 2-shield flex with a Shadow Alakazam is quite hilarious. Next opponent, we're going to encounter a very horrible lead force. We can swap out immediately into our Alakazam. As I swap out into the Empoleon, we actually have a decent matchup here. We can get a shield advantage, but you see also a lot of lag coming in here, which might actually impact a little bit, I don't know. But as you're gonna see, they survive with a 1 HP here, which is quite unfortunate because now I have to take a move, and I'm still going to take the move with the Poliwrath. I know it is going to be a super effective move here, and I could have maybe taken the move a little bit easier with the other one, but I feel like it might be my only call to go for the 2-shield farm down with my Hypno to hopefully hit whatever they have in the back. I think this is my only call of winning this game, so I decide to let this move go through as well. It's going to be the Night Slash. Hopefully they don't boost here, as they do boost, but at least we're still going to have our Hypno. I would have been able to let one move go through, but I don't think I would have done it no matter what. But of course, they get a little bit more damage on me, which I don't really like. Let's see what they have in the back. It is going to be the Carbink, and I just forfeit. There is no winning against the Carbink in this situation, so it is better to just let it go. Final battle, we're going to have the worst possible Pokemon to encounter for this team, which is going to be Jellicent. I did not really think about it, but at least we can go ahead and go for an Icy Wind, dropping the attack guaranteed. I want them basically to go for a charge move here, and yeah, we're going to see something very interesting in this battle. We're going to see the Shadow Ball coming through. I can still go into my Hypno. I was thinking to myself, please don't go for Surf, please. They do go for Surf, and like at this point, like we are in a very tough spot. They play it very well here, to be fair. Of course, yeah, the team does not make too much sense either here, but we're gonna see here Ferrothorn coming in. I was hoping that I had a Fire Punch here, but I don't. But this game is not over yet. Why is the game not over yet? Because we know the lead. The lead is very weak to our other 2 Pokemon that we still have, and we know that we should be able to farm them down here with our Alakazam. And that might actually be our win con, because they still need one more Force move to go for another charge move here. We would get a ton of energy, and this would come in clutch for us, and so we don't get the farm down done. We should have been able to do it, but the game just decided that the opponent still gets a charge move off, even though they would have been able to feint from 2 Force moves. But yeah, it is what it is. We most likely would have won this final game, but it's kind of sad that you're not going to be able to see it. Still, hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.